Hey, this is Paul here from intralifestyle.com. Today's video, I want to talk to you about an experience I had back in 2013 when I went to an Abraham Hicks workshop and I got selected to go on the stage and ask a question from the hot seat. Now, at the time, I was on holiday with my girlfriend at the time, and we were traveling in California in the US. I remember sitting on the beach one day, and I think we were only in LA for 2 days, and I got a notification on my phone when I was down on Santa Monica, and it was an email saying Abraham Hicks live tomorrow workshop. And at the time, I'd been listening to a lot of Abraham Hicks recordings. I'd been into some of the other law of attraction stuff. I watched The Secret, and I was following a lot of Bob Proctor's work. And I was getting really deep into that area as a new concept in my life. And I just felt like I had to go to this seminar. I just felt drawn to it. So I ended up making an arrangement, and I got a ticket and went to it. But I'll give you a little bit of the background first as to sort of why I went down that path, and I'll share more in another video in the future. But in 2010, I lost one of my close friends in a tragedy, and it really triggered something inside of me to start trying to make the most of my life, because at that point, I wasn't really doing much, and I wasn't feeling fulfilled. I had no direction. I didn't know where I was going to go. And then all of a sudden, this tragedy happened, and something happened inside of me. It sort of woke me up, and I was looking for answers. And I wanted to find some greater meaning, and I wanted to make the most of life. And I didn't really know where to start. And I started exploring books, and someone recommended The Secret to me, which was the first thing I read. Then I got into Abraham Hicks, and I really resonated with a lot of the stuff, even though it was quite a new concept to me at the time. But a lot of it was very helpful, and it helped me through difficult times. So when I went to this workshop and this seminar, I remember just feeling so present there, and it was great being around like-minded people and listening to these questions. Being around Esther and Abraham as the source energy where the information was coming from, and it was really quite fascinating. It's not something that I've experienced before. And I remember feeling like I had the urge to ask a question, and I think it was close to the end when I was selected, and I just saw Esther's hand pointing at me. I knew it was me, and I had to go up on stage, and I was sort of so in shock and nervous about it in front of all of these people that I think I forgot what I was going to talk about. But when I went on stage and got in the chair, the question that I sort of mentioned and talked about was that I was struggling to live in the present moment. Now, I don't know if that's something that I was actually meaning to ask. I think I had a few things on my mind, and I sort of went blank at the time. But I trust that that was a question I needed to ask. It was a cool experience. I felt sort of awkward on the stage and stuff. It was really interesting. I remember at the time saying that, like, in the coming weeks, things are going to start happening in your life. Changes are going to happen due to being part of that consciousness and that energy, that things would start shifting in life. And at the time, I didn't really sort of think too much into it, and I just got on with my life. But I remember leaving after the workshop, and I was in such this pleasant headspace and just this place where I felt so free and just good. At the time, my girlfriend back then was out shopping, and I went to pick her up. I remember her being upset about something, and I just felt this huge contrast in terms of energy of where I was at and where she was at in that moment. And it's just insane. But a few weeks after I got home, the relationship actually ended. At the time, I didn't want it to end. And I started thinking, well, Abraham said stuff was going to start happening, but this isn't what I wanted. It's only by looking back on it where you can see how that part of your life has influenced things, and now you can always look back when you're further forward. But at the time, of course, when you're in those emotions, it doesn't feel like it's part of the journey or part of the process. It's not really what you want. But moving forwards to where we are now in 2019, and I came across the recording the other day, so I just wanted to make a video to share that experience because I didn't have a YouTube channel back then. It's just really, really interesting to be in that environment and be around that like-minded energy and to see how it has some kind of impact in your life. Now, since then, I've listened to a lot more of Abraham's stuff, and I've gone on to other people and read other books, and I've been to a bunch of self-development workshops and been to Tony Robbins' Unleash the Power Within. And my self-development and growth has just grown absolutely significantly since 2013. But I just wanted to share that experience with you. So if you're someone that is considering going something like that, I'd highly recommend it, or at least listening to some of the Abraham Hicks recordings and the teachings to see if it resonates with you. But just the idea of being in a place at a certain time and you get some kind of message or feeling and notification to you, just, it's weird how things just line up like that. I would honestly be really interested to hear if anyone else has had a similar experience and you can relate it to everyday life. And sometimes in life, when we have that inner feeling, that gut feeling, the intuition telling you to do something or you feel drawn towards something, I think it's very important that we learn to develop that and we start to listen to it, because oftentimes, and especially when it comes to relationships, is we can ignore that and we start seeing things a bit differently. But from my own experience, what I've learned is that my intuition is always pretty good. It's always pretty accurate, but I haven't always listened to it. So it's something that's worth considering, and with practice and deeper work and self-development stuff that you can get into, you can start to develop that yourself a little bit and use it in your life. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and the story about my experience at an Abraham Hicks workshop. And if you're considering going, then I'd highly recommend it. It was a great experience. And I'll speak to you in the next video. Take care.